Most people with her background would have a very standard story. Started somewhere senior, moved more senior, but Claire Donnell's story is nothing like that. From British Army to HP to various product and engineering roles across the private sector, and now she's at Move for over 8 years, where she has built her career from the inside, from director of agile delivery to now CPTO, overseeing product, engineering, design, and data. Moo makes business cards, but the interesting part is that they also own their manufacturing. That means she's leading a product org where the physical and digital world have to work together every single day. And I wanted you on the show because you have seen what it actually costs to build and grow an org, not from the outside, but from within one company over 8 years. Claire, welcome to Product Org Unmasked.
Thank you for having me.
Really excited to have you here. Tell me a little bit about your path and your army, your Moo story.
Yeah, I mean, you summed it up pretty well yourself, to be honest. But yeah, I mean, I've got what some would describe as a squiggly career. Been and done many different things over the years, and each one of those things shapes me into the person that I am today. Starting from growing up in a small mining village in Scotland and joining the army when I was a teenager, developing my leadership and management skills in a technical domain earlier in my career really shaped the rest of what's happened. To be honest, I describe my superpower as being that generalist nowadays. Blends really well into the product role that I primarily hold now, because you can have that breadth and knowledge and feel like you're able to sort of dip your toes into any topic and have an opinion. I love that now.
Okay, so you do have a lot of been there, done that moments in your career, I assume.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I've got so much grey hair. You learn from different people you meet, different roles that you do. Even though I've been at Moo for eight years, I've had multiple roles in my time at Moo. Moo's been through different phases of its company life cycle in the time that I've been here. I'm a curious person. I love learning and adapting to new situations. Yeah, Moo's been able to keep me on my toes on that front in the time that I've been here.
And that sounds quite exceptional, because the average tenure of a CPO is 2.3 years. Tell me a little bit about your current reality. Maybe let's start with, what does it mean to lead a product and tech org at a company where you also have to care about manufacturing?
Yeah, it's quite different anyway, having to care about product and engineering, like every single digital touch point, from customers finding your site to internal employees wanting their laptop fixed. Everything lands on my doorstep. So yeah, that's already a big bed to consider.
Okay, so how big is your organization?
My team isn't that big. Well, I suppose it depends on who you ask. The overall team is between 70 and 80 people. So that covers IT, data, product, technology. So not small, but not large either. I speak to many other companies who have teams bigger than that, covering the space that we do. Yeah.
Now you're in that CPTO role, I think, for 2 or almost 2 years.
Yeah, 2 years.
What has changed most about leading this org in the new role for you?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the breadth of what you just described and like that physical aspect of things has been a real big focus over the last couple of years. We've all under more and more pressure to think about savings, to be cost effective, to scale and grow in a sustainable way, and that's certainly been one of my challenges. And I've had to put a lot of energy, at least 1 or 2 years, but a lot more in the last 6 months or so, of supporting our internal operations team, actually, and thinking more about our internal customer being a first class citizen, and in particular our operations team and our teams that run the manufacturing plants. And it's not all just about efficiencies. Thinking about the user experience and the workflows and the tools that we design for our internal customers, giving them a good experience. Often what happens in the manufacturing floor actually impacts external customers. So it's pretty cool to think about it that way.
I can totally relate to that. I worked for Spreadshirt. It's a t-shirts customizing company in Germany. Similar, manufacturing and product, and doing product in such an environment is completely different, because, as you said, you're not just building shiny features. You also have to make sure that these shiny features work in manufacturing. You have to make sure that you also solve their problems so they can become faster, so you can potentially fix complaints about slow delivery.
Yeah, exactly. And over the last couple of years, we've been launching loads more products. So we started as a business card company, and paper is in our DNA. But we're moving into the adjacent space of premium branded merchandise, which is a whole different ball game when it comes to not just manufacturing the products, but the customer experience as well. So yeah, we've had to completely think through how we manufacture, fulfill the supply chain, how we digitise some of that, and what the right balance of doing workarounds and scaling it properly is. It's been quite a challenge over the last couple of years to do that, because you can't just quickly iterate through a manufacturing plant. They have to be trained, they have to understand what's going on. They work shifts. It's not software, but the two things need to come together. So quite often I'm sat at that middle dynamic of one part of the organisation moving, like, still moving fast, but in different.
Did that become worse since the rise of AI?
Yes and no. So yes, because everybody wants to move even faster and try out new tooling and technology, and the opportunity of trying different things out. Everybody's under pressure and wants to move faster, but it's not a magic bullet. You've got to learn these things. You've got to figure out how to apply it in your organisation, and we haven't got it all figured out. And the pressure to have it all figured out and be inspiring and directional, I suppose. People are looking to you to have all the answers, and you've not always got them.
I assume your day has 24 hours as well, so like everyone else's day. Now, you're not just the CPO, you're also the CTO, so you own the entire org. Plus, you always have to make sure that the manufacturing part of the product is working as well. And now there comes AI on top. And you said there is no magic silver bullet. I completely understand, but there must be some secret sauce for you to still manage your priorities and to make sure that you are working on the right things at the right time. What is it?
Well, I'm not sure I do, to be perfectly honest. Yeah, like when you just said it all out, it's like, that's a lot for one person to cover. But yeah, I think that's at the heart of it. I have to be quite open and honest around what I am and what I am not doing, and sort of pre-agreeing almost like which plate is going to smash. Being really explicit with my peer group and the CEO and need be of I can do this, but it's going to come at the cost of that, and it's really is hard. AI is a good example of one of those things, actually. Like I would have loved and wanted to be more at the forefront of taking an organisational lead on and stance across the whole org on how we apply AI. And I've just, there is only 24 hours in the day. So, I've done a lot on sort of getting proof of concepts up the ground, inspiring people. I've done a lot personally in my free time. Be able to share side projects with people to inspire them. It's got a lot of things going and up off the ground day to day, which is cool to see. But sort of taking a more leading role of how that systematises itself as an operating system across the company is something that I have just not had enough time to do. Like it's a whole thing within itself, isn't it? To do that well, then I probably need to stop doing most of the other parts of my job.
Yeah, and I feel like everyone is facing that right now. Like your product org was already not running seamlessly before AI, and there was already a lot of pressure, and there was already a lot of like social pressure as well. Now AI comes on top, and I think like that just next all of the challenges we're having. Now you say you would love to be at the forefront, but you can't because of all the things up and running. You still try to catch up, but the pressure is not going away. So I think you can't just tell your CEO like, we can't do AI. You must need to find some approach in order to still get your organization to a different era, actually. How?
Yeah. Like that sheer pressure thing is an interesting way to put it. Like it is real, and you listen to the the podcasts, the newsletters, the shows, and one minute you're inspired, and the next minute you've got FOMO, and the next minute you've got anxiety because you go through that whole cycle just in the first 30 seconds of listening to. Compounded with that, there's a bit of imposter syndrome. Like I've personally built quite a lot of stuff using AI, and I've done most of it in my free time, learning in my own time, just sort of quietly picking away at it until I'm feeling confident and comfortable to share it with someone else. And I've committed the cardinal sin of product management over the last 6 months, to be honest. Like sort of kept so much of my own things to myself until I feel confident to share. And as soon as you start sharing, people are like, oh, that's cool. Like why didn't you give me this sooner? And it's like, oh yeah, because I'm listening to or seeing and hearing about people that are at the absolute bleeding edge of all of this, and yeah, feeling like I'm not, I'm not quite there.
Yeah.
And in reality, because I have shared a bit more with folks now, I'll give you my GitHub if you want. But I'm actively building frameworks, applications. I've done all that in my free time before I felt confident enough to share it with others, and then use it in the work context. Which, it's sad in a way, to be honest. It's meant that the company has not been able to take advantage of some of the stuff that I've been learning. But at the same time, like, I think having gone a little bit slower at the start, it's people are picking it up much faster.
No one has a 50-year AI history and expertise, so we all are on a learning journey. And I think that if your organization is already quite established, it's anyways hard because everything is up and running. Yes, the stories we read sound fantastic, but all these stories are from startups that were founded like 3, 4, 5 years ago, and they started in the AI space. So
Yeah.
obviously for them, it's easier to be AI native. I think we'd already be happy to be AI informed and then move towards becoming AI native. But that's a transformation at a completely different scale.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's interesting because I get to see what the product design, data, and the engineering teams are all doing. They're all coming at it from different angles, and I think they're all sort of progressing at a similar rate, actually, just maybe in different ways. My the data team working with the analysts across the company have been forerunners, really. They've really tried new things, experimenting, and it like really went into it from a safety angle first, and making sure data was clean, and thinking about how it would be shared and security around it all. And yeah, they've made some really good progress with like thinking about how they can democratise some of the data sets. Like, that was like a group that sort of come at it from a safety angle first.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, and then I've been doing stuff a little bit more with the product and the design team, just on them getting comfortable with more technical tools, for want of a better way of describing it. I mean, yeah, using Figma Make and the like was quite natural and easy to do. But I'm working through with them now. They've all got Claude licenses, and we're working through some exercises in the terminal. And yeah, folks getting comfortable with that as an interface. All of a sudden, you've got this whole Pandora's box of new tools at your fingertips to experiment with, and that's exactly where I'm living. And it still excites me. Like, I've got it all figured out. I'm comfortable trying and experimenting.
Yeah, I tell everyone that for me personally, it's the most exciting time in product management because my learning curve has never been steeper.
Before, say, the last 6 months, the last years since the last time I was regularly opening the terminal. And it's the first thing I go to every day now. Like, I'm doing something in the terminal. Like, I use Claude Code to sort of help me pair and think through, prep a little bit for this podcast. Like, you don't need to be doing coding and.
How much does your CPTO role make this transformation easier, because you don't have to have the fights with your CTO convincing him or her that the whole vibe coding thing is important? There's a lot of friction usually between the two. Now you own both. Is that an advantage or a disadvantage?
So I regularly have to tell myself off of, like, you can't do that, Claire. Like, you've just broken all of your own rules. So I'm like, all right, pay attention, stop. And where that's hard, on the security front, the tension does need to be there for very, very good reasons. Like, real life example last week, this is something really simple, but we use Notion for many things, including transcribing meetings, and yeah, it doesn't alert a person when you're recording them. So there's requests from our legal team to turn it off. So we did, but that then broke a whole bunch of other people's automations and all the productivity workflows that they'd been created. Yeah, we were having a call just on Friday about how we strike a balance, and yeah, concluded that you can't ban things. Like, this is happening whether we like it or not. So yeah, we're going to have to go down the education path and update some of our policies and advise people on, yeah, if you record someone without them knowing, that's like, it's a disciplinary matter, to be honest. But yeah, we need to train and tell people about that and provide them with authorised tools to use. Like, you've got to be pragmatic about it. Like, the danger comes from everything sitting with one person, because you're arguing with yourself on many occasions.
I have a hypothesis that organizations that are more mature when it comes to building products, like really following more standard best practices, or at least being able to explain in 3 sentences how they get products from discovery to measure, that these companies also have an advantage in the age of AI today. So when I've read about your Mootopia story, I think it's a little bit
Yeah, it's a bit
older.
old. Yeah.
Yeah, but I still loved it because to me it meant that you already thought about how to shift your ways of working and how to modernize your organization. Where are you today, and how much would you verify my hypothesis that maturity has an impact on the readiness of your organization?
It's an interesting one because it's a bit old. I think I wrote that in 2018 or 2019 when I first joined Moose. At that time, this was a company that was growing really, really fast, hiring people like crazy. Like I was one of the people that sort of joined during that boom. And part of why I joined and was hired was to level up again of how we deliver and grow at scale. One of my observations when I came in was Spotify was all the rage. We had a tweaked implementation of that as I joined, which was working okay, but yeah, needed a little bit of a tweak. And yeah, that's what the Metopia article that I wrote was all about, of just how we tweaked that, and having the disciplines of product, technology, and design, and a bit of delivery and agile coaching mixed together. Creating these quads with each team, and it was really, really important. And yeah, coming at any problem that you have from each of those different perspectives was important. And yeah, it's not a handoff. There are overlap between all four of those things, and yeah, the magic happens when 4 different disciplines can collaborate and figure out how to get something done. Yeah, I think when you appreciate what the diversity of thought that comes from different angles, and it makes things easier rather than harder, actually. Because yeah, if you're far too process orientated, then you tie yourself up in knots trying to create a perfect model, and yeah, then when you try to automate that, it's never perfect in the first place. So it falls apart.
Did you evolve Mootopia since then, or is it a thing from the past and you would describe your product operating model completely different today?
Yeah, I mean, it's a thing from the past, but sort of been I've inspired since then. The sort of main learning from that period was the Spotify model is Spotify's. Like, sure, you can be inspired by it, but yeah, I don't think you can read a blog or whatever and just apply it in your context. And it's that type of thinking that I always speak to my team about. To be honest, like I've read all of Mark Kagan's books. I've got a whole bookshelf of inspired by various other product leaders. I'm an avid listener of all of the podcasts and materials, and they're great inspiration. But what they are not is a playbook for you to pick up and implement in your org. The thing that's special for all of us as product and technology leaders is to figure out how you take the best of some of those bits and make it work in your organisation. So yeah, like that was the principle behind Mootopia, and I've continued to think about that ever since. There's always new models coming out. There's always new thoughts. There's always new something. And yeah, the trick is to figure out how to make it work in your context. So yeah, don't give that a name nowadays. I don't think there is any need. But yeah, just to be constantly evolving and thinking about how your organisation needs to run, given what's going on in both the organisation and how the world is evolving is, well, I mean, it's a big part of the job, isn't it?
Seeking inspiration isn't hard in today's world. You open up LinkedIn or whatever, or you read a book or a podcast, and there's so much inspiration. And I wonder how much this inspiration really helps us, and if more inspiration really gives us more insights. You also don't know where to start, because you do have so much inspiration, and there are so many different success stories out there that it is super hard to come up with something that literally works for your organization. At least it's something that I face in my reality. How about you?
Yeah, it's definitely overwhelming. And yeah, the fact that I didn't answer your question with, yeah, I've done Mootopia V4 and here's my link to my webpage or blog article or whatever it might be on what it is. But I mean, it's evidence of that, isn't it? Actively thinking about it and tweaking and iterating as you go is where we're at, and I suspect will be for quite some time. Like there's never been more ambiguity with how you work and operate than ever, to be honest. Like, think
Yeah.
back in my last 20 year career, it just feels like everything's so fluid right now. And yeah, that's exciting and scary all at the same time. And yeah, I think there is immense pressure on us as leaders to, be inspired, translate it, figure out what we're doing, tell everybody what to do, but at the same time consult them in it and take people through the change curve, do a transformation. And
Totally.
whilst you're
Yeah.
at it, just
Yeah.
do all the other things that you're supposed to do as well.
Yeah. Deliver results, have an impact on revenue, talk strategy, be visionary, transform your organization, make everyone empowered, like replace everyone by AI. It's ridiculous and unmanageable, I'd say. What do you know that you wish you had known before you started in that CPTO role?
I don't think it's until more recently when there's just been an extra thing added on, like AI and the like, where I'm just like, oh man, I literally can't think. I think I could have created a better operating model for myself. Like the breadth is one thing, but there is depth, and if there's a gap in your organisation or you have to step in for something else or like just something odd going on, like that's really tough to handle. Like the breadth is fine when everything's going well and you've got a whole solid team around you, but all it takes is one little blip in the equilibrium and you're going with it. So yeah, I wish I'd taken or thought more actively about how I was personally going to contend with that. I try to think now, like lesson learned of what drains my energy. And for me, when I'm working at different levels of detail or context switching between them, topics is not so bad, but context switching between levels of detail, like that absolutely destroys my thinking and my cognitive load. So yeah, a lesson I've learned more recently that had I thought about that a couple of years ago, I probably could have created a different model out of it. I mean, that's part and part of the product role, I suppose. It's something that's good, but yeah, you can't just be zoomed out and you can't just be zoomed in.
Let's try to look through a European lens on your product operating model. Moo is global, but your operations are in Europe.
Yeah, Moo's global. Like 75% of our customers are in North America, so arguably more US focused than anything. Part of our strategy to win in the US first. But yeah, we're a UK founded company, and we have manufacturing operations in Rhode Island and in London. We also have marketing and sales teams. So, I mean, my own observations of what might be different between European and US companies. Is around this. I'm not a P&L owner, and I think there are more US based companies where the product people are. I mean, just because I'm not a P&L owner doesn't mean I'm not accountable for things. I think that makes the product role at Moo different again. Like you've got this sort of physical digital aspect to consider, and quite often I'm the person that needs to make sure a decision happens, whether I make it or not. So quite often I'm the gatherer of people to get us to a decision. Lean quite heavily on facilitation skills. My own observations are that seems to be quite different between Europe and the US.
True. Yeah, true. And that's a super interesting point. I haven't thought about that yet. It feels like in Europe, we do have to justify product management quite often to the C-level and the board because they potentially don't get what product really does. It feels more like a cost center. And then if you're not having P&L ownership and you never got trained on commercial aspects of that role, then all you do in your presentations to the board is talking about the roadmap and the impact and the outcomes, and you're trying to transform your organization into a product-led model. Also, you can't even prove that this is the right model for your organization because you don't have P&L ownership, so you can't prove a financial impact. That's an observation I do, and I think that explains also what you just said. If you have P&L ownership, it's easier because then you're more accountable in terms of business reasoning than you are in Europe, where you don't have P&L ownership in most of the CPO roles.
I think it's still like you can still make it work for. Like I have very close relationship with my chief commercial officer, and not all of those same conversations. Like we need to be aligned. So she needs to be aware of what I'm proposing, and it's going to complement the commercial goals, and it works both ways. Like there's no point her suggesting something that's completely unviable. Yeah, sort of demonstrating and showing the complete linkage of all of that thinking. It puts product right at the heart of it all, which I find really satisfying and interesting actually. So yeah, like, and the company seems to value that perspective as well, like the fact that the product managers can dabble their hand in commercial stuff, in product thinking and design thinking.
I wonder if you wouldn't have that relationship with your commercial peer, would your world look different?
Yeah, I mean, we go through phases of it. You know, I'm not going to say that we agree on every single thing straight out the bat. But yeah, part of my role as CPTO is to make sure that the exec team is aligned. Like that's my team one, I suppose. So yeah, us being in agreement on the company strategy, where we want to focus, and get alignment there first. So we're all going out to our when they are individual teams, saying the same thing in our different languages, but we're aligned. Yeah, we have to do an awful lot of bickering behind closed doors, I suppose. Yeah, to get that into alignment. And that doesn't always work out. As things changed, something you can't plan everything up front, or even via quarter and do everything via OKRs or whatever. But yeah, if there wasn't a relationship there, like we then couldn't work through it. So yeah, it's really important to have strong relationships with your counterparts. Figure out how get that alignment. We use OKRs to do some of that. And yeah, when the going gets tough, it's easier to have a hard conversation when you've got a strong relationship with your peers.
Did it happen by design or was it accidentally lucky?
I mean, a bit of both, if I'm honest. Like, if I think, I mean, I've been a CPTO for 2 years, but I was doing pretty much the same job for 3 years prior to that as a VP. And the commercial person has been the same person that like the whole time I've been at Moose. So we've grown to know each other quite well over a period of time. But yeah, it didn't start that way. Yeah, you got to put the effort in to figure out how you're gonna work with someone, and you gradually build the trust up. Often that just comes from being open and honest with each other around what's going well, what's not, and facing into things when good, be it good or bad, facing into it and giving each other feedback.
Yeah, I think investing in that relationship with all your C-level peers or peers, if you're not in C-level, is one of the most important things. And you need really to make sure that you consciously design these relationships and that it becomes a give and take and not a like, I want you to work the product-led way. It's a compromise and common sense.
Absolutely. In fact, one of the things that I'm often saying to my team, like I don't use the words agile or product all that often, to be honest. Like I'll describe the attributes of something that we're trying to do, like iterate through something, experiment through something. Like there's no need for me to be using the word agile and getting somebody's back up about it. I use this phrase of meet the organisation where they're at. So often when I get new people joining the team, or maybe people that are earlier in their career, they're super inspired by the book Inspired. Sort of like thou must do things my way. And it's like the world is not a book. Meet people where they're at. Like you're trying to implement something that's level 10 maturity in a book, and yeah, the person that you're speaking to has never even heard of agile. Like just get them comfortable with doing a little experiment and nudge them up before you try and blow their mind with concepts that they're not familiar with. So yeah, I tend not to use terms like product operating model. Just try and instill our way of working into how it's going to support the way the business needs to work, rather than the product team. Like we're all here to serve the needs of the business at the end of the day. And yeah, the terminology that we sometimes use around this can hinder rather than help. Like it's our own special language, and yeah, not everybody appreciates it.
Yeah, totally. Or gets it because they haven't sat in the same talks and didn't listen to the same podcast, so they don't even know what we're talking about. I would love I would love to continue for hours because I have so many open questions. But I have one last question. If you could give 3 pieces of advice to a product leader who's struggling right now, what would you tell them?
I mean, we've talked a lot about ambiguity and pressure in this call, so yeah, I mean, I think it's figure out your way to find a path through that ambiguity. Like, don't wait for clarity. It's not coming. So you can create your own clarity. Figure out one thing that you want to try next. Do it. Learn from it. And then related is figuring out a way to protect your own energy and look after yourself. The pressure has never been higher, and we're moving faster than ever. I spend a lot of my own personal time learning about AI, which has pros and cons. Like, it means it's very hard to switch off. So I think it's even more important than ever now for people to figure out how to look after themselves and create the right boundaries for them to sustain their own energy and make whatever you're doing sustainable. And I mean, the last bit would be just stay close to the customer problems. The way that we work, the way that customers are interacting with us is, like, again, it's changing every other day. Like, that's a great opportunity for you to just think about customers in a different way. Stay close to the customer problem, and it will sort itself out.
I think a podcast about product orgs can't end any better than, like, go off, talk to customers. I think that's still the most important advice, no matter if we automated everything using AI or not. Talk to the customers will remain. Cool.
Exactly.
Thanks for your time, Claire.
Great. I really enjoyed it too.